In 1874, the U.S. government sent George Armstrong Custer into the Black Hills of modern-day South Dakota. This expedition path was a direct breach of the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie, establishing this land as exclusive Sioux territory. Custer's scouts discovered gold at the grassroots. The news triggered an immediate, illegal rush of thousands of miners, effectively ending the period of relative peace on the Great Plains. This wasn't Custer's first time violating a sacred boundary. Years earlier, after the massacre at the Washita River, he smoked a ceremonial pipe with Southern Cheyenne leaders and swore never to take up arms against them again. The chiefs warned him then, if he ever broke that vow, he would be killed. These broken treaties and violated ceremonies turned the campaign into a reckoning for personal oaths. The conflict was defined as much by broken faith as by disputed borders. As the summer of 1876 approached, Native scouts began reporting a comet in the night sky. They interpreted the celestial event as the spirits of the dead returning to the earth to go to war. The sense of an impending disaster reached all the way to Fort Lincoln. Elizabeth Bacon Custer, the wife of the general, watched from the gates as the 7th Cavalry rode out for the final time. As the morning sun burned through the river mist, she saw a rare optical illusion. A reflection of the cavalry appeared in the sky above the column, making it look as though the soldiers were marching directly into the heavens. To her, the future of the regiment seemed to be revealed. From the comet seen by the scouts to the mirage seen by the general's wife, both sides sensed that the environment itself was signaling an outcome that was already becoming unavoidable. While the army moved west, the Lakota and Cheyenne gathered for their annual Sundance on Rosebud Creek, a ceremony of prayer and physical sacrifice for the community. During the ritual, the Hunkpapa Lakota leader Sitting Bull entered a sacrificial trance. He danced for days, offering his own flesh in exchange for a vision that might save his people. In his trance, he saw a swarm of soldiers in blue uniforms falling upside down into the native camp. He described them as grasshoppers from the sky, with their hats falling off as they plummeted. He also heard a voice that clarified the meaning of the image. These have no ears. These, they will die. This vision gave the native warriors absolute spiritual confidence. They stopped seeing themselves as refugees fleeing a campaign and began waiting for a victory they believed was already promised. As Custer's column approached the Little Bighorn, the abstract warnings of the previous weeks began to manifest as physical incidents on the trail. During an officers' conference, a sudden gust of wind repeatedly knocked down Custer's personal flag, leaving it lying in the dirt and pointing backward toward the rear of the march. The scouts soon found sand drawings left in an abandoned native camp showing dead soldiers. Mitch Boyer, a veteran scout, told Custer directly that these were a warning of a hard and long fight for any enemy following the trail. Custer dismissed the warnings. He scoffed at the sand art, ignored the anxiety of his scouts, and ordered his regiment to push blindly into the valley. Custer's tactical blindness was the final stage of a years-long pattern. He had developed a fatal inability to hear the warnings placed directly in his path. On June 25th, the 7th Cavalry finally struck the encampment at the Little Bighorn. Within hours, Custer and 5 companies of his men were completely destroyed. This ledger art by Minneconjou warrior Red Horse captures the prophecy's exact fulfillment. Notice the dead soldiers in the upper right. They fall head first and upside down into combat, exactly as Sitting Bull foresaw. Most specifically, the fallen cavalrymen are drawn without ears. The visual record confirmed the spiritual verdict. The soldiers fell because they refused to listen. After the fighting ceased, the forensic state of the bodies on Last Stand Hill revealed a final, specific act of retaliation directed at Custer. 2 Southern Cheyenne women found Custer's body. They stopped Lakota warriors from scalping him, identifying him as the man who had smoked the peace pipe with their chiefs years earlier. They did not take his scalp. Instead, the women took out their sewing awls and drove them deep into both of Custer's eardrums. Cheyenne oral history explains that this was done to improve his hearing in the next world. It was a physical punishment for breaking the oath never to attack their people again. The awls in Custer's ears were the final punctuation for a career built on broken faith. He died at the hands of the same people who had warned him years earlier that his life